Hi, it's Makaela here. Thanks for listening to my podcast. What you're about to listen to is an old episode of my podcast, The Midlife Awakening, which has now been replaced with the Deliberately Transformed Woman podcast. You'll still find some golden takeaways in these old episodes, but if you're the type of person who wants to discover and let go of the things that are holding you back in life by busting through fear and procrastination, overcoming imposter syndrome, and stepping into a life that is fulfilling, courageous, and intentional, then my new podcast episodes, starting from episode 21, are the ones you're looking for. You're listening to episode 12 of the Midlife Awakening podcast with Makaela Moore. Welcome to the Midlife Awakening podcast. I'm Makaela Moore, your host and certified transformation coach. I'm a 40-something woman who nerds out on brain science and believes every woman should be financially independent. This podcast is for women navigating their midlife who want to learn the secrets to unlocking their brain and freeing themselves from everything that holds them back so they can create lasting change in their lives, because everything is possible. Join me each week for conversations about the midlife and tips and tricks to hack your subconscious brain so you can deliberately transform your life and ultimately create your own financial security. First time here? Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Enjoy! Welcome to episode 12. I hope you are all having an amazing week. I'm actually feeling quite proud of myself right now. I have gone from a woman who cared way too much about what others thought about me, and basically everything I did came out of a fear of judgment. And now I am putting myself out there every single day in a way that I never, ever thought I would or could. I have been doing regular Instagram story videos, which have been really good for getting me used to talking on video. And I've even started doing a few Facebook Lives too. And I still struggle a bit to know what to talk about, but I get there with a few thoughts beforehand and a note or two. And today I did something that is going to make my daughter pee her pants with excitement. I started my own YouTube channel. So far, there is only one 3.5 minute long video introducing my 10-day free mindset challenge, Transformation Awaits, but it's a start. So to go with that, I have to tell you a little story. So like most kids, Sydney loves YouTube. She watches a lot of kids stuff on there, and the other day I was telling her about a trip that we're planning for March next year, which is to join a very large group of people at a massive 4x4 caravan and camping event near Adelaide, and that would be taking our caravan and doing a tag-along trip from here in Brisbane down to there as part of a group of people that we regularly watch doing caravanning on YouTube. And I swear, when she heard this, she nearly crapped her dacks. Her response was, "What? We're going to meet real-life YouTubers?" I suppose to her, they are as famous as anyone we would have seen on a movie screen. So now she can have her own famous person in the house because Mama is now on YouTube. I think I'm actually going to put my podcast episodes on there too in the near future, amongst other videos. So I still think it's quite funny. Anyway, I really wasn't sure what I was going to talk about this week. I've been focusing on getting my 10-day mindset challenge ready, and honestly, I haven't given much thought to the podcast for this week. But then I was chatting to a friend via private message the other day, and she was telling me about a few issues that she's been having, and as a full-time mum to two very young kids. They're about 2 and 4. And she's had some major health battles this year. Her husband works long hours, and she doesn't have any family close by to where she lives. She's feeling very frustrated, overwhelmed, and basically at the end of her tether. Anxiety is becoming quite a problem for her, and she just needs a break, some relief. And I know she listens to my podcast each week, so she'll know who she is right now. But the thing she told me the other day was that every episode gets her thinking about something in her life, or, like one of them actually made her cry. But last week's episode really inspired her, which for me is awesome because that's exactly why I do this, is to teach and coach, inspire and empower women. Anyway, so she felt that she could totally relate to the, sensory information overload episode, and she feels like that's just her whole life. And so she has gone and done something big in light of that podcast episode. She has booked an Airbnb just for herself, no husband, no kids, not too far from home, but in a picturesque location, and she is going away for 2 days and leaving the kids with her hubby so that she can go and have a desensory weekend, that's what she called it, to recharge her batteries. I was so happy for her when I read that. It's just so awesome. We all need this. So, in light of her story, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about on this topic. And a lot of this I also told her in our messaging. So, to have a true desensory experience, you've got to try and stay off your phone most of the time. Only use it to, take a photo here and there, or if you really need to call or text someone. Nothing in the world is so urgent that you need to spend the entire weekend with your phone attached to you. For the whole weekend, I suggest that you sit and relax and think and basically do nothing. It does feel weird to sit and do nothing when we're so used to running around after little people and big people and work people, all the people. Because if you're anything like me, you always feel like you need to be doing something. Get some meditations on your phone. That's the other thing that you're allowed to use your phone for. And do some meditations. I use the Insight Timer app, which is free for both Apple and Android. Find some meditations in there that you like and just try a few if you're new to meditation. Just sample a few and see what you like. Take your journal or a notebook and write down your thoughts, your dreams, your feelings, your wishes, just anything that is on your mind. Write a letter to yourself from your future self, giving current you advice. Sleep lots, eat well. Do not let your magical alone weekend be swallowed up by getting sucked into what everyone else is doing on social media, because it will defeat the purpose of, the information overload desensitizing. Likewise, don't spend the whole time watching TV either. Like a movie or a random TV show is okay, but just have some truly unplugged time all to yourself, because you deserve it. This experience can be so good for us because we actually need time to ourselves where we don't have to worry about anyone else, kids or husbands. My friend was planning on taking crafts and her laptop and all sorts of things, and I told her not to. I told her not to plan on doing much of anything, so don't take much because it'll just come home unused. I have done this quite a few times. I've taken an assortment of books and computers, etc., and plans of all the things that I would do on my getaway, and I didn't even do a quarter of the things that I had planned. I am guessing that most of us would be in the same boat, and it's because our brains are just so fried that we just can't keep doing. We just need to make it a weekend of self-care with good food, lots and lots of great sleep, meditations, a few nice walks in a park or near water, journaling, and just being super kind to ourselves. Even just the art of focusing on our breathing. Now, my friend said that she has actually found that she ends up holding her breath a lot, which isn't really good for humans at the best of times, but it does increase our anxiety, which is why meditation and controlled breathing are so good for us. Like I said in last week's episode, when we do controlled breathing, which is breathing into the count of 7, holding it for 7, and then breathing out to the count of 11, it activates our vagus nerve, which, among other things, calms our anxiety. The more we do this, the stronger the vagus nerve gets and the better that we get at managing anxiety levels. Meditation involves controlled breathing, which is why it is perfect for helping with anxiety. One further suggestion I made to her was the exercise of literally sitting in silence for 4 whole hours. No computer, no phone, no book, no pen, no notepad, no interruptions, no walking around, just sitting in silence with your thoughts and perhaps a water bottle. It is the most profound experience. Notice the thoughts that come up for you, because you will probably notice lots of negative thoughts, but by the time 4 hours comes around, you should be noticing positive things or turning your negative thoughts around to positive. Then afterwards, grab your journal after you've peed and perhaps had a little walk and some food, and then write down all your thoughts and feelings about that 4-hour silence. Like, what came up for you? How you felt about the actual exercise itself? What you're feeling now? This can be a very revealing little exercise. I highly recommend that we all do this type of weekend for ourselves to some extent. Some of you may simply not be able to get away from the house and family for even one night, but surely we can grab a day or a half day to try and de-stress. It is just so important for our brain, our physical health, and our sanity. If you didn't hear last week's episode, please go and do. I talked all about the effects of information overload on our brains and some strategies for reducing and managing the stress, overwhelm, and anxiety that this can create. I am finding more and more that mums are the last priority on their own list. We put everyone else first, and then we wonder why we are so spent at the end of the day or the week. Contrary to popular belief, we are not Wonder Women. We are just human beings who need the same levels of self-care and priority in life as everyone else. In one of the coaching groups that I'm in, I was on a call recently where one woman was saying she had 5 kids under the age of 7, and in that was 2 sets of twins. A few people piped in and said that, she was Wonder Woman or Superwoman, and, someone else made a really simple comment that really got me thinking, and that was that labeling this woman as a Wonder Woman or a Superwoman was just a judgment and just a story that they'd applied to that situation. Now, I do not want to take anything away from that mother of 5, because honestly, my hat goes off to her that, she even gets out of the house each morning. But that comment was pretty right. We all make judgments about other people, whether they're good or bad, and rarely do we actually see what goes on behind the scenes. So many women are putting up a front of being super okay or in charge or totally organised, but in reality, behind those curtains, they are quietly only just holding everything together by a thread, ready to implode at any given moment. Self-care is a non-negotiable, and we need to stop trying to be martyrs and superheroes. We need to admit that we need help. We need to ask for help. We need to set boundaries in our life to claim a piece of ourselves back. We need to make our physical and mental health a priority. It is just the oxygen mask for our whole life. If we do not look after ourselves first, then we cannot be expected to look after everyone else around us long term without falling in a heap at some point in the probably not too distant future. We must take responsibility for our own self-care, and we absolutely must make it our number one priority, because the housework is not going anywhere, but you might. In my upcoming 10-day free mindset challenge called Transformation Awaits, I will be talking about some of these self-care strategies, why they're important, and how we can achieve them. I'm also going to help you to start creating that dream life vision and getting to all those stories held in your subconscious brain that are probably holding you back from achieving things in life. We're also going to look at changing your juggle struggle. We're all trying to do all the things, and I don't know about you, but most women I know are actually struggling with all the things, whether they openly admit it or not. Another friend of mine asked me the other day, where do they start with reprogramming their brain to get rid of all their old habits and limiting beliefs? Well, before we start reprogramming the brain, we first have to start understanding how our brain works and what might be locked away in our own brain. So my focus in Transformation Awaits is to help you to begin to understand your brain, what bullshit stories are holding you back each and every day and basically ruling everything you do. Until we start doing this, we do not even realize that most of our beliefs are just stories that we made up as a result of something that we interpreted, probably incorrectly, as kids. We also need to have an understanding of how the brain works in terms of our habits, and in this free 10-day challenge, you can kick New Year's resolutions to the curb and get ready for 2020 with a new mindset that will help you survive the silly season and set you up for creating a fantastic new year and your dream life without all the stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and disappointment that most of us experience when we set and forget our New Year's resolutions. Because I will tell you exactly why New Year's resolutions do not work, why we self-sabotage our own efforts, and how our own brains can be our own worst enemy. Transformation Awaits is designed to help you realize the potential that is currently locked away in your subconscious brain, and basically to inspire change in women just like you. So if you look forward to listening to my podcast each week, I would like to ask a favour of you. Well, two favours actually. If you haven't already, could you please go and leave a positive review and let me and the world know your thoughts and key takeaways so that I can share this with more women out there who also need this podcast. Secondly, I would love it if you signed up for my free 10-day challenge, Transformation Awaits. It starts the 1st of December and goes for just 10 days. Now, I know this time of year can be overwhelming and we don't need anything extra on our plate, but I assure you this challenge will be simple, easy, and fun. Each day, I'm going to pop into your email box with a message for the day, and then I'll also be going live in the challenge Facebook group to talk you through the day's lesson and the task and be available to answer your questions. This will be priceless because you will have direct access to me in these Facebook Lives each day for 10 days, and I've never offered this before. My coaching clients pay for access like that to me to be able to ask any and all questions. So I'm going to presume that if you are listening to my podcast that you are a woman, because that is my audience, and I am also going to presume that like most women, you are juggling all the things. Am I right? Am I also right to presume that you might feel a bit stuck, whether it's within yourself, your career, in a relationship, or in family, and that you just want to make some changes in your life, but you just don't know where to start? Well, 99% of my clients are with you. When they come to me, they're not getting the results they want in life, and they feel stuck and frustrated and overwhelmed, living by their circumstances and not by their choices, wondering when it's their time to do something for themselves. But after coaching with me, they feel a sense of freedom that they had simply never, ever felt before. They're understanding how their brain works, they're taking a step back and analysing life from a completely different perspective. Their relationship with themselves is suddenly a priority, and their relationship with their spouses and kids and families are made of the stuff they thought was only in the movies. They are no longer self-sabotaging. They are building their self-confidence, and they are kicking and ticking goals in their life that they can't believe. And all that started with the basics that I am going to share with you in my 10-day free challenge, Transformation Awaits. I am so excited to be offering this to you. just at the end of this year, in time for you to set yourself up for next year and make 2020 your absolutely best year yet. I know I have talked a lot about my challenge in this episode, but I am living and breathing this stuff. I am in the midst of creating all the goodness for everyone in this challenge, and I am just so damned excited to be sharing it with you. So I really hope that you will join me in the challenge. Like I said, it is simple, it is easy, and it will be fun. Actually, to be honest, I am going to be staying in a caravan park with my bestie and our kids for the start of the school holidays for some of the challenge. So that could be entertaining in itself. The link to sign up for the challenge will be in the show notes. I can't wait for you to join me. That's all I've got for this week. I'll catch you next week for a jam-packed episode. Bye for now. And that, my beautiful friends, is another episode of The Midlife Awakening. If you'd like more inspiration or to connect with other midlifers, head on over to my Facebook group, Deliberately Transformed. You'll find the link in the show notes. Until next time, cheers.